Welcome back. Using sound, written, and visual art to heal others, public speaker Andrea Augustus, also known as Poetic Black Girl, recently launched a new art program called Healing with the Arts for New York City students. Andrea joins us to further discuss her new program and the impact she hopes it has on NYC youth. Andrea, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Kibin. Always good.
So, for those who don't know, can you tell us a little bit about you and the overall work you do regarding the arts and self awareness?
Yeah, sure. For those of you who don't know me, hello, hello, hello. My name is Andrea Corvine Augustus, also known as the Poetic Black Girl. I am a spoken word artist as well as a public speaker and workshop facilitator in different New York City classrooms. I teach different study skills to students from how to get themselves motivated, how to study and prepare for exams, different memory and mnemonic techniques. And I've also done some work teaching art at a detention facility in Brooklyn, where I was really able to help students tell their individual stories about how they ended up where they ended up and how they can get to where they wanted to be in the future. So it's been really, really impactful and cool work.
Now, you have a new program called Healing with the Arts. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. So, Healing with the Arts is a program that's been designed to address some of the emotional challenges that students face. So, prior to the pandemic, students were actually seeing an increase in suicide attempts and suicide rates. So, going into the pandemic, where a lot of students were forced to be at home in environments that may not be safe and around people who may not support them can lead to a lot of emotional distress and challenges within students. And that's just a pandemic problem. Then, when we talk about students who were in high school as seniors and transitioning into college, and then having that process interrupted as students, that could lead to a lot of emotional distress and confusion and anxiety as well. So, there's been a variety of different transitions that students have been going through, from being in school and facing a different social media, and then going from social media to a pandemic, and then in the pandemic figuring out how to do online learning, and then going from online learning back to in-person learning and dealing with college and grades and a lot of things. It can be really stressful. And not all students are going to come out and say, like, hey, I'm stressed. Some students don't even know how to identify that they're stressed. They just know that they might not be feeling well. They might be more agitated or upset. So the Healing with Arts program is really designed to give students a space in schools where they're able to say, hey, I might not be okay. And let's talk about it, and let's write about it, and let's journal about it, and let's draw about it and connect over art to come up with a solution on how we can get where we want to go. So it's kind of the basis of that.
So, you said so many amazing things. I think what stuck out to me the most was the fact that you said that a lot of these kids don't really know, like, they're not going to know immediately that they're feeling stress. What are some ways or some symptoms or even some changes that one may go through if they're feeling stressed, but they may not know it immediately?
Yeah, that's a really good question, especially for students who might run across this video and they're like, I haven't been really feeling myself, but am I depressed? Am I stressed? Do I have anxiety? I haven't been to a therapist. So there are small physical things that you can look out for when you want to do a self assessment to figure out if you're stressed. You want to monitor, like, have you been eating? Have you been eating as much? And that's a really simple one, but when we're stressed out, sometimes we're in our head so much that we forget to eat. And right next to eating, have you been drinking water? How much have you been drinking water? Are you feeling fatigued? When we're stressed, we tend to feel physically the symptoms of our stress, because stress is a physical response because our brain is perceiving us as being in danger. So our bodies will produce hormones and send them all over our body because we're not sure if we're supposed to be in fight or flight. So you might get headaches, right? You might get migraines. You might feel like your stomach isn't feeling okay. You might feel like you have all of this unplaced energy and anxiety because you don't know where to put it because your body is in fight or flight. So being able to really sit down and say, hey, y'all, anybody else ain't been eating? Is everybody else going through that? And figuring out plans and ways to really interrupt different cycles of stress and anxiety and sadness is important.
Now, the program will include wellness based workshops based on the MOVE method of empowerment. Can you explain what that is?
Of course, I'd be more than happy to. So, the MOVE method of empowerment is a framework based on four key principles. The M in the MOVE, it's an acronym. We love, people in education love acronyms. We love acronyms. So, the M is for message. It's helping students figure out what their message is. What is your legacy? What do you want to tell the world about you? What should the world know about you? The O stands for ownership. Once you figure out what your message is, how do you take ownership of that message and package it in a way to send it to the world? For example, if your message is that you stand for equality and equal rights, how are you going to tell the world that? Are you going to make a song? Are you going to make a poem? Are you going to make a comedy skit? Right? The V in MOVE, the MOVE method of empowerment, stands for vision. What is your vision for the future? As students, sometimes we just think our vision for the future is doing well academically because that's what everybody expects us to do. But honestly, when you're in school, you're preparing for the bigger future. So outside graduation and outside of college, what is your vision? Where are you going? What impact are you going to have? And how do we sit down and outline how we can really manifest that? In the E, the last element of the framework is for evolution and evolving. How do we evolve to really begin to take the steps to manifest the vision that we said we want based off of our message and us having the ability to take ownership of that message? So I teach the MOVE method of empowerment using a few different artistic elements. So there will be visual arts like painting, right? Painting to release some of that stress and also create a visual vision of where you want to go. And movement, we're using movement arts, looking at yoga as an art form and how you can use movement arts to really get in touch with your body and figure out how to decompress and figure out new things about yourself. In addition to spoken word art, because of course I am a spoken word artist first and foremost. So
Right.
teaching students how to create their own individual poems that they can go and perform on different NYC stages. New
And
York is a great place to be for that.
and why would you say like a program like this is needed, especially for children in New York City or specifically the Bronx?
Yeah. Um, in the Bronx. We'll take it right to the Bronx because that's my home. That's where I grew up. I was a student in the Bronx in elementary school and in middle school. And then when I went to high school, I actually went to a school in Soho, Manhattan. And the difference in the programming was very clear. They had more resources. It seemed like they had a bigger budget. We had access to more things I didn't even hear about when I was going to schools in the Bronx. So when it comes to a program like this being important to students in the Bronx, it's even if it's not the healing with arts programs, it's so important to give these students exposure to different programs and different careers that they can pursue and different resources that they don't know that they need and they won't know unless we introduce them to. I know somebody, they do a financial literacy program. Never got that when I was in the Bronx, but in Manhattan, when I was in my Manhattan school, I definitely took a personal finance class in high school. So introducing programs like this, beneficial programs like this to students and meeting them where they are, which is typically where they have to be, which is in the classroom, meeting them where they are is extremely important and giving them the resources and the tools that they need to thrive and really become the people that they want to be. Like the kids are the future, y'all. So
Right.
let's invest.
Now, I want to talk about how art can be used for healing because I don't think a lot of people kind of value art as a tool that can help you in your mental journey or your personal journey. So, can you quickly tell us like how art can be used for healing?
Of course. So, the first thing I want to say is that it is crazy because when you look at studies, it shows that students who are in arts programs and sports programs tend to do better academically than the students who aren't. So when we invest in the holistic success of students by giving them arts programs, not only does it help them emotionally, like sorting through their problems because they get a chance to kind of paint and decompress, and they get a chance to journal and decompress, but it also helps them academically. So it's a weird catch 22 when budgets get cut and they cut arts programs because really it's doing a disservice to the student holistically. But I will say, when I was in college, I studied art therapy and art education. So people have been using arts as a healing tool for a while now. After Sandy Hook, after that, a psychologist actually gave students the opportunity to take art, and it decreased their cortisol level, it decreased their stress hormones, and it really helped them to process some of the trauma that they've been going through. And we know that students have been going through a lot of trauma recently with the shootings going on, these different mass shootings, especially the one that happened in Texas in the school, is scary for children, and it makes them kind of want to refuse to go to school and run away from schools. But having arts programs can make them run towards school to really process that.
So, we're towards the end of our interview. Can you just quickly let everybody know how they can reach out to you if they are interested in this program?
Yes, of course. So if you're interested in this program, you can reach out to me on Instagram at Poetic Black Girl, and that's going to be spelled Gurl instead of Girl. Or you can go to my website, www.andreakaugustus.com, and everything pops below. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Andrea.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more Open BxRx Tuesday.